I'm starting to record because little Lucy here is making a cameo.
We're just going right into the episode, aren't we?
Hey, Lucy. Hey, Lucy.
Welcome to Cyclops is Waiting for Me, an X-Men animated recap podcast with Wolverine and The X-Men, episode 21, Rover. I'm JC, and Rod has successfully bribed his cat with treats and or catnip.
Yeah, well, it was just one treat, and now she's just kind of here with us. So Lucy, you want to say hi? Yeah, you don't care.
Doesn't care.
She's like my stubble.
No.
On her head. And I'm Rod, and we're still at the new space. We have Lucy here who's going to romp around throughout the episode. Before, just a little bit insight to where I used to be, there was like very few safe spots. And so this new place was nice, as Lucy can go anywhere, and she is. And it's a beautiful thing. But it's right now she's choosing to be really cute.
Get through your part of the script.
Hey, Lucy. Oh, and then here's her butthole.
Yep,
right.
Great.
Cyclops is Waiting for Me is our bi-weekly podcast series where we're going back and watching I feel like those like newscasters during lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I mean, she's literally pushing the microphone.
Hey, Lucy. Okay, right after this we can eat, okay?
It's going to be a 20-minute episode.
We're going back and watching every single X-Men animated episode we can find. The podcast started with the original 1992 X-Men animated series, building up to the release of X-Men 97. Along the way, we've completed X-Men Evolution and launched our companion interview show, the Xavier Files. And now that we have it confirmed that Season 2 of X-Men 97 will be dropping in 2026, we're dedicating this year to all of Wolverine and the X-Men. We're pretty close at the end.
Yeah. 6 episodes left, counting this one. Some quick reminders. We're a recap show about a series that started over 15 years ago. There will be spoilers, and if you don't want it spoiled for you, pause the podcast, watch the episode, and come back. We are not affiliated or sponsored by Marvel Animation, Disney, or Disney+. Yeah.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at Cyclops IWFM Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook, and TikTok. I guess Lucy decided to camp out on the piano. Okay.
She's going back to her old haunt. Before we get into the show today, I just want to have a quick conversation because we missed it the week that it did come out about the X-Men Lego short that is on YouTube. Rod, what'd you think of that?
That was fun. I don't know what it's for.
It's literally everything that is in the set of the mansion.
Oh, so it's a kind of an ad?
It's an ad, but it's like almost a year later.
Yeah, and also I noticed it's part of the YouTube Kids app. I don't know if that's like an automatically like categorized thing. That's an
auto-categorized thing because I opened it in YouTube.
No, I opened it in YouTube, but at the bottom, like there was like a tag that said like you can't leave comments because it's classified as a kids video.
Oh, I mean it's for a kid's toy that costs what, $400 or something like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like it like clear it's like an animated, it looks like one of those things. It was just funny. Also, yeah, people don't realize like how complicated like music rights get. So what I loved about this is like everything was like almost X-Men music, but not quite. So
it is literally every minifigure from the set. Everybody starts playing poker. They have the Sentinel battle, and they literally show like the action features of the Sentinel. Like one of them that it has like the little like lasso to grab a character with and stuff like that. So that's how he pulls Rogue out of it. Also love that they went through the trouble of damaging the front of the mansion because the final build has like part of the mansion is like impacted by something.
Oh, nice.
And then behind the mansion is a basketball court there too, so they made sure to emphasize the basketball court.
Funny. I forgot to say this the last episode when you were talking about like you doing the build on live stream. When you're finished with it, like once a year, do you just like tear it down for tradition's sake?
Nope. Once a thing is built, it stays where it is. Like it might be hard to see because of the light reflecting on it, but that is a like acrylic case around the Nintendo Lego set, and that is just going to stay in there to prevent it from getting dust. So now it's display art. Hey, Lucy.
She's going to perch up here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi.
We are an audio show too, but yeah, I just wanted to chat about that because it was very much like in our circle of what people are consuming and stuff like that, and it felt appropriate for us to chat about it. Hopefully by the time this episode goes live, I'll have finished the Lego set, as I alluded to on the episode 2 weeks ago. And then that'll get put into its case and never opened again. So,
and Lucy is paying her tax for living here.
Yes.
Being on camera. So you should follow the video podcast to see this cute cat before she runs away. Okay, there you go. Be free.
Yep. She's over it. Now on to the actual show. Wow, it's wild when we look at episode 1 of a recording versus episode 2 of a recording. Mm-hmm. We were like 13 minutes on the first episode. This one we are 5.5. Yeah. And we talked about a separate animated short.
Yeah.
So on to the episode today. We are talking about season 1, episode 21, titled Rover. It aired on September 18th of 2009. Currently sits at a 7.7 rating on IMDb. Rod, I have to ask before we get into anything in particular, did you have any idea what the title meant before the episode kicked off?
No. So, in a little bit of insight on my side, before starting the episode, I thought it was called Rover because our
Mark Rober.
Yeah, because our spreadsheet has a typo in it. and then when the episode started, I think I saw the title. I was like, for some reason, Rover. The first thing that came to mind was like a car or something. You know,
like a Range Rover
or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
because I guess like dog name wasn't the first thing that came to mind when thinking of like X-Men. Yep. But then when it started, that was like, I don't know. We'll get into it. But I was like, it was interesting how it like settled into the title. This was one of the more interesting titles of an episode.
So, in the comics, 2006, there is the arc in the Grant Morrison run of New X-Men, which is called Here Comes Tomorrow, which is a future version of the X-Men. It's like 150 years after the events of the modern day. And there is a Sentinel on the team, and that Sentinel's name is Rover.
Oh, so this is kind of based on comics. That's funny.
It is a reference. It's not a one-to-one because it doesn't have to do with like the Days of Future Past Bishop stuff, but it is a story with Logan and a Phoenix egg and a bunch of stuff, but it's like a decimated Sentinel. I'll remind myself to put that on the Instagram of the two visuals of the cover that shows it, which is this beautiful cover, and then the the one from the show. So
I like how this was kind of an early Groot, right? Because all he can say is destroy.
And we're going to get into that from a timeline perspective too. Okay. So the previous one is a pretty quick one. It's Xavier in the future, and then his interactions with Polaris. Quickly jumps over, and you see a Boyd Street sign, which was very prominently placed. So Boyd Kirkland was a member of the team for various X-Men projects in the past. So I believe it was a reference to him. There's also a character named Boyd who pops up in X-Men books, but he's such a non-prominent character. I think it was a Kirkland reference, more than likely. Yep. Marrow is running out of a building where she is being hunted by a Sentinel, and she uses, I feel like sometimes her little spiky things are really effective, and then other times they just shatter like they're nothing. It's very inconsistent with when they like pierce stuff. Tell me if I'm wrong on that, but it felt like this one, it was a perfect shot. It goes right through the palm ray, where she gets chased down to an alley, and I didn't pick up on it at first, I'm going to be totally honest, but I just thought she was surrounded by a second Sentinel at that point.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on the Rover part for like a little longer than I think you're supposed to.
Yep. Coming back from the animated intro, the first Sentinel looks over at the other one, and it's kind of confused, and then gets just brutally shot in the face.
Yeah, it gets kind of decapitated. And then we had to mention like Rover is kind of broken down. I'm assuming this is the one from the Polaris.
It's the one that Polaris put together for them when she escorted them out of like the no man's land. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. And Marrow proceeds to give Rover a hard time, actually calling him by his name, and pointing out that, you weren't supposed to shoot it in the head because we need to get you a new vocal modulator. And then this is the thing that 100% is not intended to be this way, but happened to work out because of how language changed over time. Because when Bishop calls to her to like yell at her for fighting Sentinels, and she calls it bushwhacking Sentinels to get parts, she says, "Hey, Bish."
I love that. Yeah, I might know about that as "Hey, Bish."
Yeah. Which, especially in the tone that Marrow has in the episode, it makes it extra funny because it's definitely like pseudo like derogatory, but it's funnier now because of what like people will say in the modern day of like Bish like calling their friends that and stuff like that. So, yeah. But yeah, so you do get to what you were alluding to, Rod, about the Groot aspects of it, where he could only say destroy, and you actually get like the sad destroyed from it. So cool timeline rewind on this. At the start of a comic event called The Annihilation, which was cosmic based, there was the Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova, people like in that grouping, and it like the Guardians were not the same team that we have today. Like there were some people on it, but not everybody. And at the time, Groot could speak in full articulate sentences.
Oh, really? Okay.
In 2006. In the event of Annihilation, I believe that is where he gets damaged enough that he started doing the I am Groot, and that's the only thing he could say.
Okay,
and it like got retconned later on it, but like that was a point where like it happened a few years before this, which was years before the actual movie came out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, I thought it was kind of sweet because like when I finally realized it became like really apparent that Marrow had made a pet out of the piece together Sentinel. And it was kind of cute because then I was able to like kind of put together like, oh, I'm supposed to get more than destroy out of his dialogue by the way he's saying it.
Yes.
Kind of like I wouldn't be surprised if they did what they do with Vin Diesel and they give him an actual script and he just always says I am Groot. And so like whoever voiced this is probably the same thing. They probably have an actual script and they're like, oh, just destroy.
Yeah. And then in particular, she realizes like, oh, he shot it in the head because I can't fix his vocal modulator, but the chest piece, which almost always breaks, I got a brand new one for him. And then she like very quickly installs it by herself from it because she's trying to like help rebuild him back to like full functionalities, I guess. So, yep.
And she says something like it's kind of loose. I was like, that seems important.
Yeah, having that not fall out of his chest would probably be a good thing. In the modern day, you have a little bit of a moment between Wolverine and Cyclops as Cyclops is arriving. Presumably, at this point, he has had the conversation with Wolverine, gave him the update with Emma of what exactly had happened in his memory with the event. Did they ever give it a name? Like I don't want to call it the snap because it wasn't a snap, but like, did they ever like the moment that happened? I don't remember if they've given it a name.
I think the only thing I remember hearing is they described it as an explosion once. But it's not really like a title. They just said like the explosion. Yep.
So they basically are by Xavier's comatose body, and they say, they call out to him. In the future, Charles is able to hear it, and then they go into the astral plane where they're able to communicate together. And he is shocked to see Scott there, and that's where they start talking about the explosion.
I was gonna say this is the first time that Xavier's talking to somebody besides Wolverine.
Yeah. That is the first time anybody else is invited into it, which is kind of wild.
And then Scott tells him, oh, that's right. And the whole thing in the past is we see like Xavier running away. Now we kind of see what happens when Xavier gets called. So it's not even a thing where like Xavier has to like go do it. He can be called upon by Wolverine.
Yeah, he's kind of like there's an anchor to his body, and that's how they're using it. And he's like, yep, go on ahead without me to Bishop and the crew. So
dangerous.
Very.
But then, Scott's like, hey, I saw, he doesn't give me any context, but he's like, so I saw the thing, and it was Jean that exploded.
Yep. So Xavier looks for himself. He is shocked by it. And then Scott gets into a defensive mode. And it's, he points out, I've seen this kind of psychic fire before. Presumably something earlier that the others on the team were not aware of. And it happens in times of great stress. And that's when it seems to... the extreme stress is when he's talking with Wolverine. But he does mention that when he saw Lorna's memories, he saw the same fire overtaking the sky.
Oh, yeah. Which I didn't put together. So
I didn't either. I thought it was just like a fireball from like a weapon or something like that.
That'd be an interesting concept, though, if the Phoenix is responsible for Genosha?
I mean, it's what the impression is just that whatever happens set her off nuclear, and it was essentially she burned the world down.
Yeah.
Scott gets defensive because he's saying, it wasn't her intentionally, and then Xavier freezes him. And they talk around Scott, which just seems super fucked up to do at that point. And that is where he says that he knows that this happens when Jean is in instances of extreme stress. And it causes her to lash out. So this is where I have a theory. My theory is, and again, if you're listening to us for some reason on this episode for the first time, we have not watched the series before. This is our first time going through it. So do not reply with a spoiler of if the answer gets revealed on this. My theory is there's something that happens that is attacking psychics. And whether it's specifically targeting Jean or Jean and Xavier, it's what sets her off. And her reaction to it is just so much bigger that's why the explosion happens, because it's the Phoenix taking over from a protective standpoint, rather than it's something inherently wrong with the Phoenix. That is my theory on it. Gotcha. I don't think it's Dark Phoenix, essentially, is what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's true. We don't really have context of like Phoenix stuff.
We don't know if it's a positive or negative entity or any of that stuff. But that is my theory coming out of it, is the extreme stress was caused by a third party, which is it Magneto? Is it another villain or whatever it is? But I think there is, if she's already stressed out about the Scott Wolverine stuff because Wolverine is leaving, and whatever happens when she was already at this heightened moment, I think is what is going to be what sets her off. And now that's the piece of like, please reveal that before the end of the series. So.
I like how Xavier's like, I have a theory. It might have been the war. I'm like, you think?
Yeah.
Like that might have been stressful.
They have the conversation that they had to do it in the most like non-blunt way possible, but still allude to everything, where it's like, well, you're going to have to stop her. And if you can't stop her, then you have to stop her, you know? So... Yeah. Or sorry, you have to stop the war or you have to stop her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite of save the cheerleader, save the world.
Right.
It's if you can't stop the war, you have to stop the Phoenix. Yeah. So,
which side note, man, Save the Cheerleader, Save the World was the most exciting build up to Nothing Burger.
Yeah.
But that's such a great... I remember going to 30 Rock for Christmas that year and buying a Save the Cheerleader, Save the World shirt from the NBC store because I was so excited. And that was before the finale aired. And we realized it didn't matter. Anyway, back to the show.
Yep. And then back in the modern times, Wolverine lies to Scott about the cutoff, basically saying it's like, oh yeah, sometimes it just happens because there's interference on it. Like it's like bad cell signal or something like that. And Scott gives well, what are we going to do? And Wolverine's like, well, the X-Men and I are going to figure out how to save the world. And then you have to decide if you're with us or not.
Yeah.
Which felt really fucked up considering like he's doing all the right stuff right now, realistically.
I mean, I guess this is in the context of like Scott almost left like right before.
That's
in the last
like
episode.
A week. Yeah, like a day prior.
And he's like, I don't know if I can be here if I'm still hung up on Jean.
In the future, Marrow is reading a kid's book to Rover and just trying to get him to say some pretty simple phrases. And one of those is something about running. That was
I didn't put that together.
That was one of the very few, and apologies if people have heard this before, but I always watch now every episode twice for moments like that, because as like later in the episode when you do hear Rover speak, he does absolutely. It's one of like the 8 words in that sentence is run. So
yeah, we you just know by the buildup of that he's going to say something. Like it's like the "We Are Groot" moment, right?
Exactly. Yep. So he instantly goes on alert, and you see this big citadel that's in the distance. There's sentinels on the roof, and she talks to him like a child, like a baby, where she literally says it's time to go night night.
Yeah. And then she signals everybody else.
Yep.
Like what'd she say? Like we're in red alert or something.
something along those lines. But yeah, you signal to Domino, Hellion, Vanisher, Berserker is there. I still love that character is just like in stuff and just is such a nothing burger in comics, to use your phrase. And then Rover just hides behind a giant curtain.
I love that like these Sentinel dog things are supposed to be like the height of technology with Wolverine and everything.
But zero context for anything that's inorganic. They are literally made to hunt organic life, and that is it.
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah. But you would think that they would think to go behind a curtain because mutants would hide behind curtains at some point.
Or like,
right?
There's this giant rock formation and a giant curtain hanging from it.
Yep. And then in the city, one of the Prowlers does see Xavier, and you see a bunch of them start popping up. And then one of them, because they want to remind us that these are upgraded Prowlers because of Wolverine not doing what he should have done according to Kitty in the past, they pop the claws on it.
Mm-hmm. And at one point, like it heals too, right? The glass on it heals.
So Xavier fights one. He fails very quickly with a rebar hammer to it, but then stabs one of them in the eye, and that one does end up just inorganically healing itself, but in an organic fashion. So
that was wild.
Nanotech. And then Bishop and Vanisher come back for the save, and the Prowlers see a flash in the mountains, which is presumably Vanisher's power activating, like in the distance. So, and then also non-speaking role, the guy who in the previous episode had turned purple, Kamal, he is also there in the group, just there. Yep. Marrow refuses to go inside, and she stays outside with Rover. And to what we were alluding to, the Sentinel cannot see through the giant curtain. And then they did the thing you have to do, like, that loses practicality, but it's a good jump scare, where Sentinel is scanning, and then all of a sudden the curtain gets moved, and it's Bishop and Xavier. And it's like, if that happened in actuality, you would have absolutely been seen by the Prowler. But we're going to ignore it for creative liberties. So, yep. You get the first moment of Marrow just straight up not liking Xavier.
Yeah, there was a hint at it before, though, right? The previous episode, it was on the previously on. It
was kind of like not trusting, but this is like straight up like going at it with him. Like she didn't seem adversarial with him in the Polaris episode, for example. She points out that ever since Xavier joined them, Master Mold has been hunting them as a group specifically.
That's the point. It's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Xavier mentions the Wolverine conversation with Bishop, and basically says it's the countdown to 0 and the clock's already ticking. It's very what is it? Is it the atomic clock? It's the doomsday clock. It's very much that vibe kind of scenarios. Yeah. Like we're like 1 minute to midnight right now is kind of the read I got from it.
In present day, we're seconds to midnight.
I think we're technically 3 minutes to midnight.
Are we?
Right
okay.
Now.
I thought we were a lot closer than that.
I think we haven't gotten under 3 minutes. I think that's the worst it's been, thank God. That could change at the drop of a dime, but and they start kind of having a little bit of a back and forth, and Xavier is like, well, it would just be great if we knew the moment that the big change happens, and is there a record of it? And the Bishop says, well, he used to be familiar with the Spire, and the last time that he was there, that's where he saw what was likely a data drive, because that's where Master Mold would save old versions of his body, etc. on it. Yep. And Xavier does well, can we get in there? And Bishop's like, well, if we have a big distraction, and then he volunteers Rover for it.
And Marrow overhears, and she's like, absolutely not. And, which I get, especially as a pet owner. I'm like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But she gets ordered by Bishop to do it, and I guess at the moment she's a better soldier than I would have been, because she kind of like begrudgingly agrees, but then she like pulls a bone knife on Xavier's throat and is like, if anything happens to him, so you're accountable.
Right, because essentially they know there are at least 5 Sentinels stationed at that location already from what they saw. So she's like, you can't take on 5. And Bishop's like, well, he doesn't have to survive. He just needs to buy us time.
Yeah, yikes.
And then they start making their way towards the tower. They give Vanisher Nightcrawler rules, where he has to see his destination.
Yeah.
And they give the explanation that, well, he could do this from here and get inside because he could see a window. And I genuinely want to know why Sentinels need windows.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like for what was established as a hive mind in the like big debut of the Sentinel episode, where like they were all interconnected and shutting off at once and all that kind of stuff, I feel like they should have cameras and not just depend on windows to see outside.
It's aesthetics for when they have guests over. I don't know.
Yep. So Marrow is sad and on Rover, like just kind of like essentially like sort of am I saying goodbye, am I not kind of moment. And then you start to see Bishop leading the team through the detention cells, talking about this is where he was born, and they see a cell and he gives a quick pause. Xavier doesn't want to just like randomly go into people's thoughts. Yeah. So I guess that's a good thing. And he's like, oh, well, was that one yours? And you see an image. Gotta love Los Angeles. You see the image. Also, there is definitely a helicopter nearby right now. Nice. So, yeah, so there might be a chase that's going on KTLA as we're recording this episode. It's always fun when the chase on KTLA goes by your front door. Anyway, and sorry, the fucking helicopter is super distracting. He basically is like, no, that's, there was a guy that was always in that cell, and you see the scraggly figure, and it's revealed that it is Wolverine, who had been there multiple times because he kept going back to both try to help Bishop, but also destroying Mastermind over and over again, too.
And we got like a solid timeline for Bishop, too, because Bishop said his powers didn't manifest since he was 14, specifically. And then he said that Wolverine trained him for 10 years, so he left when he was 24.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Or about 24, I mean, give or take a year or two.
Did you get that? Yeah. I thought it was with him for 10 years, so I thought it was after he broke out, it was additional 10 years.
Oh, I don't know. I maybe I remember, I only watched it once, so maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I thought it was because he's like, he trained him to be an X-Men.
Oh, no, you're right. 10 years, and then he broke him out. You're right.
Because he was being trained to be an X-Men within the walls underneath the Sentinels, like noses. And and then when they broke out, he was like, Bishop had this special case where he was being trained while in captivity.
Yeah. And they eventually make their way to the parts room, where one of the cores of Master Mold literally has like Wolverine claw marks around where the face would be. Once they're all in that room, the door shuts, and Bishop is shocked. He's like, well, that's new. I guess we have 1 minute before we're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's where they call for Marrow, and Marrow just leaves and throws her comm thing off her shoulder. And it's just like, fuck it, we're out.
I would have done the same thing. Because there wasn't even like a discussion about that, like possibilities or anything. Like, you're just going to do it. You're going to sacrifice this sentient being that you're attached to. And done. And we're going right now. Like, all right. As
they're in this room, Bishop does see the part that they're looking for, the core, and Vanisher is like, nope, need to be outside, can't just teleport out of here, gonna end up inside a wall or something like that. And then the first of the Sentinels comes in. Bishop charges it with like, I think it looks like one of the Sentinel fingers is in his arms that he's like running at it with, and he gets shot, charges it up, and is able to use that to get out. And it's kind of like one of those like, all right, handle it with care moments. The only problem I had is that scene, the scale of the background kept changing. And like at one point, like everybody was basically the same size as the Sentinel, and then there was another point where like all these Sentinels are giants compared to people. They're 4 or 5 times as tall as any person is. So it switched the scale of like the door and stuff like that. It was a weird animation.
I can't
glitch.
remember if it was in a public interview or Jake was just talking at something like one of the Scum and Villainy things or something. But at some point he had talked in public about how one of their unexpected challenges or surprising challenge of X-Men 97 was that they had to consider scale of the Sentinels continuity when the original show never did. And he's like, we didn't have the convenience of just like making them smaller when they needed to fit in the room.
Yeah, everything was in like giant warehouses and shit like that.
Or they just needed to be a 2-story tall Sentinel. That was fine. And then the next one it would be like the size of a mall, you know, and they didn't have to have any continuity.
In the distance, there is a explosion, and Rover hears it and turns, and obviously the only thing he's saying the entire time is like sad versions of destroy during all of it. But I gotta give credit, man, like the voice acting and modulation on this thing, they conveyed the emotion of what this robot is going through very, very well. Like I felt more attached to this character in a single episode than other characters in the series to an extent. Fucking berserker. So there's, fighting happens. Everyone starts to get shot. Sentinels are arriving. And then Rover makes it back in time, kills the first Sentinel, kills the second Sentinel, starts to get shot by number 3. And Bishop starts getting into the fight. Vanisher gets knocked out. Marrow comes over and defends Rover, and then is able to hit number 3's core on there. So, starting to work through all these. Hellion is able to use his telekinetic powers and grab the memory unit. Vanisher wakes up and is able to teleport the memory unit out. The fourth one falls over. And this was absolutely another problem with scale of it, because at one point, like, these things are so fucking big and they're like they're waist high to the wall. But he also like walked over it at one point, and then when the one falls off the side, it was like 17 stories of a fall.
It's like Megatron in the original Transformers, right? Because he's like a gigantic robot turns into a handgun.
Yeah, but that was intentionally not giving a fuck. This is more like the cliff from Jurassic Park to me.
Yeah. I loved one specific thing in this fight was that Rover got a Mortal Kombat brutality in on one of the Sentinels. He does the uppercut, and not only does the Sentinel fly into the air like only Mortal Kombat characters do,
but the head pops too, right? It
decapitates him. There's a specific Mortal Kombat 11 brutality, which is not a reference, obviously, because of the timing, but like it was such a very specific visual that you rarely see. The
motion of it and stuff like that, yeah. And like even when he's like, at one point he starts to tackle one of the other ones and he's wailing on him. It's like it doesn't feel like a robot fighting anymore. It feels like a wounded animal fighting. So more Sentinels start flying in. Everybody is shooting at Bishop, and that's when Rover gets back up on his feet and attacks one, and like just full-fledged like hops on top and is pounding away on him. And that's when he starts to get taken out by everything that's going on.
Took a lot of shots to the back.
Yeah. And then loses both hands, get damaged, and one of them literally gets sliced at the wrist and becomes like a mini flamethrower, essentially.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Razor Fist from Shang-Chi.
Yes, yeah. Except it's Razor Fist. Yeah. He sees Marrow get downed, and that is like the strength for him to get back up, and literally 2 more fatalities. One is like you do the horizontal slice and like half the body falls over, and then the other one was very much was like a Kung Lao fatality where it cuts him from like where the belly button would be upwards, and then it does like the kind of split in it.
Yeah.
Rod, I think we know what the clips for Instagram are, and it's just showing fatalities next to Rover fatalities.
It's also just like a little no context spoiler. If you like that kind of thing, at least in the first episode of Marvel versus Marvel Zombies, you might like some of the visuals in that too.
Good to know. But unfortunately, that is when the Prowlers arrive and they basically start to overwhelm him. Vanisher tries to grab Marrow. She shrugs him off. And that is where we do get like the stupidly emotional moment of a robot where he turns and instead of saying destroy, he says run. Mm-hmm. Marrow completely shocked, and that's when Vanisher is able to grab her to teleport out. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. It sounds so fucking stupid. It's one episode about a robot, and the robot has had more heart than some of the like people in this entire series.
Hey, we were the generation raised on Iron Giants, so we get it, you know.
Is it bad? I've actually never seen Iron Giant.
Oh, really?
Not for any particular reason. I'm not against seeing it or have any negativity to it. It's just one of those like I've just never sat down and put it on kind of scenarios.
It's kind of like a later version of like Land Before Time. You know, there's a gigantic like brontosaurus, but man, when it dies, like.
Yep. So Xavier messages back into the modern day to Wolverine, mentions how there was a massive sacrifice, and now he knows exactly how much time they have left. And then he does the thing that drives me crazy because I have to schedule appointments with people at different time zones. It's at 9:43 p.m. 8 days from now. Charles, you could have established it's EST. I'm just saying.
I guess he's assuming that they're all still like in New York.
Yeah.
I guess, but yeah.
I feel like in a scenario where there's zero room for error, I would say say the time zone. Like imagine they're like, cool, we got 3 hours left and then the world blows up.
Yeah. He's like, hey, do you have daylight savings in the future? No, we don't know.
No. So Bishop goes to Xavier and is like, you know, was it all worth it? And Xavier believes it is because Wolverine now has the target in the timeline, and they're definitely alluding to the end of like Dark Phoenix, where it's he'll make the hard choices. You know, it sounds like he's going to have to be the one to take out Jean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least he's considering the possibility because he just told him you're going to have to take care of the war, take care of Jean.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there is a quick little moment where Bishop is talking about how Rover he wasn't just a robot. He did what an X-Men would do, and he sacrificed to save others and stuff. And then the part of the episode, nothing in this episode was unexpected to me until the last 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
Because Marrow going back and is hugging Rover's scraps, and she thanks him. And then there are 3 other Sentinels that arrive, and she basically says, I will take Master Mold to Xavier. And then I don't know if it's the design of these Sentinels in particular with how their eyes are designed, but they all look dumbfounded, like they were like, fuck it, duh?
Yeah.
like just the dumbest looking robot face. And I'm just like, it actually kind of killed a little bit of a serious scene for me.
Funny. Yeah, no, I get it. I was also surprised, but I get it because, like I said, you know, like not to get into too many details, but I had the situation that something almost happened to Lucy because of somebody else, and my brother was like, "Well, you could have sued them." I was like, "I would have murdered. There would have been a homicide.
Yeah, I would have been in jail before I could sue them.
There wouldn't have even been like a lawsuit. There would have been a homicide first, and then that. So like in this case, it's like she kept her promise because she's like, if anything happens to him, you're accountable. So she's doing exactly that. She's like, yeah, you can have Xavier now. Because also for her, like, what does it matter? Because they're in the future. Right, so like,
it's that whole theory of like, if you go back and change the past, does it actually fix your future?
Yeah,
like we don't know what the ripple effect in this world's time travel is because everything Wolverine has done leading up to this point has not changed anything for them.
Yeah. So
does he just create a divide in the timeline and it's the new future, and these people are still stuck with whatever the old one was?
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. So it's weird for me to say like I like this episode that much because of a fucking robot making me sad.
You should watch Iron Giant.
Yeah, you know I will. No.
have some beer with it or whatever. Give a good drunk cry.
Yeah. It was a cool episode. It's been 15 years since I read that new X-Men run from Grant Morrison, and I think I honestly read the future is now, or whatever Here Comes Tomorrow. I think I read that trade at like 1 a.m. one night, and I've never reread it. So like, I don't remember having this much emotion towards the Rover that was in that. I think it's only like a 4-part like trade. It's not even like a big story, but I don't remember Rover other than the covers having that much of an imprint on me. So they took something which seemingly really simple and really crushed it with this episode. So
I think the only thing I haven't like touched on already is that I like the concept of Sentinel being an X-Man, even if it's just for like a mission. This is kind of a fun, little twist.
Yeah, they've done that in the past. The reason why Rover stands out both from the name being the same version of it, but it was also the destroyed Sentinel. Mm-hmm. Like there was a story. It was called A Boy and His Sentinel or something like that, and it was a full-fledged Sentinel that was like reprogrammed to be a protector and stuff like that. There was something about it being a broken Sentinel that I think makes it hit even harder.
Yeah. It was like left behind by.
Exactly, like he wouldn't have been good enough for the remnants of his counterparts, crew, team, whatever you want to call it, but he ended up becoming a savior from it, which was really cool. So
yeah, it's fun. It's a fun episode. Well, a sad episode, but fun episode.
Yeah. Also, like we alluded to, we were very happy that it didn't go from the big revelation of Scott and the Phoenix reveal into like a bottle episode. Like a bottle episode of here would have really sucked.
Yeah, it goes from that to like Gambit for some reason.
But also, I am now very convinced, because we only have 5 episodes to go, that we're not going to find any follow-up on Archangel. I think that was him and Sinister have fucked off, and they are going to do whatever they are. I've seen the title and know who one of the main characters in the next episode is, and it is not Angel. So from that, I don't think unless he does an appearance in that 3-part finale, we're out of options for that story to take place at this point.
Yeah, at best he'll appear in like a fight in one of the last episodes, but not really a story.
But again, it's a 3-parter, and although this one 3-parter doesn't mean that much, because remember episode 1, 2, and 3 were very, very loosely connected. They weren't like to be continued and then it's the next minute after. It was like a week later and stuff like that. So who knows? But it's weird when we're coming towards the end of a series, because especially like this one where I'm watching it for the first time, it's like, shit, I wish I watched this when it came out, but it's also kind of cool like 15 years later to watch it for the first time. So
yeah, totally. I had I think I was on tour at this time, so I wasn't watching any TV, and I think especially this far after the movies, I'd lost faith in X-Men. Like I'd fully given, and we had Iron Man by now, right? Or we were getting him soon. So I think I had just like I had like I was like, X-Men was a nice thing in my childhood, and I guess it's the Avengers now.
I mean, that's valid. Cool. Rod? Again, even the second episode with the shorter intro, we're done before the 45-minute mark today.
Right. Yeah, Lucy's happy about that.
So, time to take us home. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any thoughts, make sure to drop them into the comments for either the YouTube upload, the Spotify upload, or the official Instagram post about this. And if you like what you heard, we appreciate a rating on the podcast app of your choosing. Find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, and CastBox. And Rod, I'm glad you're in your new place, and the camera can focus on the Cyclops is waiting for him to skateboard.
I do think it's funny that it's the thing that it's choosing to focus on.
Because right now it's really focused on that, and the Mortal Kombat screen is just a giant blur. So
yeah, it was blurry. It is a little further back, but I'm just proud that I got these mounted on this door without too much injury.
Give it a week.